There we go. So this is week 5 of our 13-week series. Today's the business blueprint. So 12 steps to building your Airbnb business, hosted by me. So I am Matt. I was a ship's captain. I have been in property for 5 years, just over 5 years. We've built rent-to-rent portfolio. We've been involved in buy-to-lets, grade 2 listed developments, planning gains, things like that. And now we have a coaching and mentoring business, helping people get started within the world of rent to rent, whether that be Airbnb or HMO, and also specifically Airbnb purchases. So that's who we are and what we do. So what you'll learn in this session, is the 12 steps to building your business from scratch, where you should and shouldn't spend your initial capital, a few things you definitely shouldn't do, and then how to hit the ground running and make money. So let's dive into it. So number 1 is obviously create your limited company. Company's house registration is about £50. You can go limited or LLP. It's entirely up to you. Whatever your accountant advises you. We obviously advise to go limited. You can actually do this through your bank. So we set businesses up through Tide, and it's a lot cheaper than 50 quid. And they do it all for you. They do your business and your bank account in one hit. You need to come up with a name for your business. It's got to be meaningful to you and relevant to the sector. So example, Dare Property Management, Dare being my surname, property management being what we do. So make it, don't make it too off the wall. Remember that you're going to be calling people and referencing your name, okay, your business name. I had one once, which was a complete joke of a name because we didn't think we'd ever have to tell anybody it, but then you got solicitors and things like that involved, and it was a bit of a joke. So make it a professional sounding name. You'll need a company to enter company lets. Now, a lot of people think that you can do this as a sole trader or just individually. Obviously, a company let is a contract between the landlord and a company. So you have to have a company formed. That's a common misconception. So that's number 1. Number 2, you've got to set up your business bank, as I referenced in the first one. So you need that to manage your finances efficiently, and technically it legally has to be a business bank account to trade through. High street banks prefer established businesses. They take longer to get. There's more checks that they have to do, whereas online banks such as Tide or Monzo are relatively easy to get, and you can get them within 48 hours. So it's a pretty easy process to follow. And keeping track of your personal and business money is essential for tracking expenses and taxable allowances. Now, you need to speak to your accountants for what you can and can't claim, but make sure that you are tracking it. One of the things that we instill within our mentees is to ensure, even if they've only got one deal, one property, is that they are tracking their profit and loss and their expenses every single month. 1, for accountancy purposes. 2 is to ensure that they know exactly what is going on with that property on a month-by-month basis. Okie doke. Number 3 is your branding and logo. Now, some people spend a lot of time on this. It doesn't need to be, just think that in a year or 2 years' time, you can rebrand, once the business is established. If the name doesn't quite fit what you do, you can rename. If the logo isn't quite, up to scratch, you can redo that and rebrand yourself. We've rebranded over the past couple of years ourselves. But you have a few options when it comes to your logo and branding. You can do it yourself on Canva. You can get on a website called Fiverr, and you can get them, a logo built for £5, or you can get them built for £75. It depends who you want to go with, and generally they'll turn it around in a couple of days. And then you can always go to an agency, but that is very expensive and, in my opinion, not needed at the start of your journey. Okay. AI tools can make your brand a lot easier and a lot simpler. So please utilize AI when you're doing this sort of stuff. Question it, come up with a few ideas for your your company name, put them into ChatGPT, see what it tells you about them, get it to rate them. Same with your branding and logos, get it to help you with all of this. The strong brand identity is vital for recognition and trust. What we mean by that is you are the brand of your business, right? That's when it comes to clients, getting properties, all that sort of stuff. When you're actually marketing your property on Airbnb and particularly direct bookings, then your brand is your logo and your, things like that, your theme of your branding, if you like. So for us, we've gone with, the colors you can see on screen there. That is our brand for this series. And it's, everything is the same across the board. Whereas when you're, as I said, dealing with landlords and agents and things like that, you are the brand. Okay, this is why we're so strong on your social media, because you are the brand. It is you that they're buying into. You do the deals, you get the properties. But yeah, consistency across the brand, as I've already mentioned, is crucial as well, just to ensure that, I'm sure you've all followed people online or followed companies online. Their branding is always the same. Every single time it goes out, it's the same theme, and you need to keep that going. Okay, websites, data and analytics. Now, websites, once you're established, once you've got a few units, then yes, absolutely, you want to be investing into a website. Okay, it can help drive direct bookings. It can help you stand out in your area, but what I would say is don't get a website from day one. One, it's not a good use of money and time. Okay, at the moment, when you're first starting out and you haven't got a property, you've got no photos to showcase, you've got no properties to advertise, you've got nothing. So it's better to spend that time and energy and money actually getting units than it is getting a website. All the time we see people come to us and say, hey, I've got a lovely website, but I don't know what I'm doing. Well, you should have spent your time learning what you're doing rather than building a website. So that is crucial. Okay, but yes, in the future, you do want to get a website. Again, this is another thing that you don't need to do. So sophisticated CRM systems like Go High Level. Okay, Go High Level is around about £500 a month. When you first start out, you are not going to have enough data, enough funnels, enough things going on in your business to actually warrant a really expensive CRM system. It's just not needed. Whereas, there are free options. HubSpot is a free CRM system that you can use. You've got Trello, you've got ClickUp, you've got all sorts of different ones which are free that you can use to manage your business at the start. And then, yes, further down the line, when you grow, that's when you start to bring in bigger, more sophisticated systems that can take a lot of work away from you. Okay, so definitely takeaways from that is, yes, you will need a website, but don't do it straight away and don't go all out on your systems until you actually have a business that you need a sophisticated system for, essentially. Always get the systems that are relevant to what you need at any given time. For us, for example, we've recently gone in to Go High Level. It's only a recent move that we've done, and we've been operating for 5 years. Okay, but it's a move that we felt that we needed at this point with what we currently have going on in the business. Okay, number 5. So domains, email addresses. We see it all day long. I actually had a letter because I'm registered as a landlord of a HMO, quite local. We got a letter from somebody who was looking to take a HMO on a rent-to-rent basis. I actually provided the guy some feedback on his letter. It needed some work. But his email address on there was very similar to this, abcproperty@gmail.com. And that was one of my feedbacks to him. If you're going to send a letter and come across as a professional business, having a @gmail.com email address really doesn't work. Okay, so you want something like, Matt@abcproperty rather than abcproperty@gmail. Okay, so doing that will give you a really good first impression with the people. And this is, I've received the letter and I'm in this industry, so I know what's going on. Okay, I know what the letter was about, and it still gave me a bad impression. So imagine sending that out to somebody who's not in this industry. So with estate agents and landlords, first impressions really do count as well. Again, we'll go through this later in the series, but your first, phone calls to agents and things like that, the first couple of seconds really count. So when you're scripted, when you're too rigid, then the first impression really isn't great, and they likely won't work with you. And then GoDaddy, if you're looking to get your domain and email addresses. So GoDaddy is a really good place to get your domain. Okay, it's not very expensive. Quite often you can get your first year for like £2. And then you can use that further down the line to build your website. And then your email address, you can use Google Workspace. The reason we advise that is because then when you go into and you're logging into all your systems and all your websites and everything else, you can click the login with Google button, and it makes it really simple. You can get your email address through other websites, but it just makes it really simple if you go through Google. So that's that one. Okay, on to number 6, an online landline number. Okay, so this is it's a good point to reference. It's not 100% necessary, but it does help with the professional aspect of things. Okay, because it does give you an image. People tend to trust a landline number more than they do a mobile number. But what it means is you don't have to have a landline fitted to your house. It all still works through your phone. You know, your mobile phone will ring if somebody rings this landline number. The other thing to reference as well is we use business WhatsApp, not standard WhatsApp. And on there you can set, there's a whole host of tools on business WhatsApp, but you can set sort of notes. So if somebody messages you between these certain hours, it sends them a letter saying, thank you for your message, we'll get back to you, right? It just adds that little bit of professionalism to it. So mix that with a landline number and you will come across as a very professional entity. Okay, so please have a look into that. As I said, it's not vital, this one. I'd say business WhatsApp is more crucial, but it is a good point to reference. And then traditional marketing tools. Okay, this is one thing that really is overlooked. And as I've already mentioned, I had a letter the other day. You'll see a lot of people on social media saying that letters don't work, you know, business cards don't work, postcards don't work, all the rest of it. Now, I'm a bit in the middle, okay? Letter campaigns 100% work. I have never, to this day in 5 years, sent a letter campaign and not at least got viewings off the back of it. Okay, the last one we did, we actually got we got somebody in that got in touch with us, and he had, I think it was 10 serviced accommodation units that he wanted to offload to a manager. We started talking to him. He then also, we found out that he's got 5 HMOs that he wanted to offload. Great, cool. Now we went to have a look at them all, and the serviced accommodation units were very niche units, shall we say, located all around North Wales. And I mean, one of them housed, you know, 100 people, one of them housed 40 people, one of them housed 30 people. So they're very niche units, and the standard just was not very good. So we didn't end up taking them on. And off the back of that, we then didn't take the HMOs. But off one letter campaign, we got in touch with a very, very large portfolio landlord. You know, we've taken on countless number of deals from letter campaigns. So letters definitely work. Postcards and dropping those through letterboxes and things like that, in my opinion, isn't the best use of time. You'd be amazed how long it takes you just to post 100 postcards through letterboxes. And at that point, you don't know if you're targeting the right person. So in my opinion, postcards work as, or flyers or leaflets, they work if you're doing, you know, if you're leaving them in your Airbnb units for somebody to book again, you know, with a discount code on and things like that. Or they could be used to hand out. You know, one of the things that one of our managers does is stands on the street corner in a certain area on a certain day, because they know that a lot of travelers are either leaving or coming to their accommodation on that day. So they'll hand them out, book direct, get 10% discount, right? And they'll hand out these flyers. So that's a really good point. And business cards, again, goes with websites, okay? Do you need business cards before you're actually trading? Not immediately, you know, but it is something that you want to think of. Again, what I hear all day long is people come to us and say, hey, I've got a website, I've got business cards, I've got my business registered, you know, I'm doing really well. Are you? Or have you just done all of the fluffy stuff that makes you feel good and makes you feel like you're making progress in the background, and you haven't actually started calling anybody or looking for deals or analyzing areas or anything like that? Now, when it comes to business cards, again, make them stand out. You know, ours, John and my business cards, they're bright pink, you know, and then we're we're known as the guys with the bright pink business cards, you know, but it stands out, you know, big bold writing, pink card, really, really does work. So it is traditional marketing does work is the point of this one. It really does work, but it's got to be targeted. Okay. If you're doing letter campaigns, they work more for rent HMO or HMOs. If you're doing letters for this sort of thing, then it needs to be targeted letters to specific properties. Okay. One of the other ways that we use it is if we go to an agent and the agent won't give us the deal because they don't do company lets, let's say, if you're doing a rent to rent strategy, then we will send a letter direct to the landlord. Okay. And we'll find the landlord's details. Any questions, by the way, guys, please drop them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. But again, try and keep your branding the same across all of your marketing materials. Obviously, with our business cards, they are a completely different color, but that's deliberate to make them stand out. But everything else is on brand. Okay, number 8. So online marketing this time. So build your visibility. So use Google Business, but use social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Use it like your life depends on it. Okay, that is your shop front. Having a website, very few people are going to know it exists. It's not really going to show up on the top page of Google unless you've done a lot of SEO work. But your social media is your brand. It's you. It's your shop front. So use it. Push what you're doing. Show people what you're doing. Show people your journey. It might not pay you off straight away, but it will pay you off in the future. I literally spoke to somebody last night at 8:30 who said, yeah, I've been watching you for a while. I thought I'd book a call. That's because I'm active on social media. If I wasn't active on social media, that individual wouldn't know I exist, and therefore I wouldn't end up on a call with them. So you've got to be active in this space. When it comes to advertising your properties, you can do that again. There are, contractor specific Facebook communities and Facebook groups. Advertise your property in there on a weekly basis, with a discount code, across all of these different groups and communities on Facebook, you can advertise your property and get direct bookings. But doing it once, right? Let's say I post my property link out there today. By tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be gone. It's going to be so far down people's feeds, they're not going to know it exists. So do it every Thursday night because contractors book generally on a Friday. Do it every Friday morning, whatever you want to do. Post it, every Friday. Make it part of your routine to post your property. Available next week, 10% discount, right? And this is how you start to drive your direct bookings into your Airbnb. Potential partners. This is the other part of building your brand and building your online presence. And this is what I meant by it will pay you off in the future. People will watch you. People will enjoy watching your journey. Okay. How many people here have watched my social media but haven't done social media themselves, haven't done a live video or posted a reel? It's terrifying when you first start. I promise you it is terrifying, but once you get into the rhythm of it, it's fine. But what will happen is somebody who's watched your journey, watched your success, whether it be in Airbnb or in rent to rent for the first year, and then in 12 months time, you come to market and you go, right, I'm going to start buying this asset, but I need to raise private finance. Well, if you hit social media at that point, you've already got a following. They already know, trust, and like you. They've seen your journey. They admire you. So they want to work with you. If you're starting from scratch, people don't know, trust, and like you. So they're going to be very reluctant to work with you. Okay, so make sure that you're building your online presence, your online marketing. And again, try and keep it on brand. Okay. Your online reputation, as it says there, can be the difference between success and failure. Nobody told me when I got into property that I was going to have to be a social media content creator. But look at every single, person in the property world that you guys follow. They're active on social media, and there's a reason for that. They're not just doing it to get a pat on the back and a like out of it. They're doing it to build their brand and get people either into their properties or to help work with them, to partner with them, to invest in them, to, help them on their journey. That's the purpose of your online marketing. I hope that makes sense. Cool. Number 9 is then your ICO and redress scheme. So we went through this in the last session with the compliance side, but registering with the ICO is a legal requirement. It's only 44 quid a year, so just go and do it. Basically, this covers you for data protection. So you can hold guest information, anybody's information, really. You can hold guest, landlord, agents, all of it needs to be documented. And therefore, if you've got ICO, you're completely covered. you've got to be fully covered. That's just reading that second point there, you have to be fully covered. The UK law also requires you to be part of a property redress scheme. Okay, now that is the one that we use is the property redress scheme, PRS, and that protects you basically. You know, if there's ever a complaint about your business, if there's ever a complaint about you, people can go to the PRS and put a complaint in against you, and they are the independent adjudicators. Basically, they will determine what the outcome needs to be and what happens. So you have to be a member of that. It's not overly expensive. I think it changes depending on what level you want, but it's around about 150, 160 quid a year. So 100% go and get that. And then insurances, how you protect your business. So professional indemnity and public liability need to be in place. Now, if you're hosting an Airbnb or if you're running an Airbnb property, you have to make sure that the insurance company is aware of that, because that will change the insurance policies that you have in place. Okay, so please use a broker, use somebody that you trust, and get the right insurances in place. Okay, it's pointless going out there on, I don't know, compare the market, getting the cheapest public liability and professional indemnity quote you can, not really knowing if it covers you, and then something happens and you find out you've been paying premiums for 2 or 3 years and you're not actually covered. Go out and get the right policy for you. Okay, if you want help with that, please let us know and we can point you to the right direction. Bear with me a second. There we go. So yeah, I've covered off pretty much all of that session. So operating without insurance can pose significant and extremely serious financial and legal risks. As I said, you don't want to have something happen and you're not covered. Likelihood is, right, is you will have insurance for the next 5-10 years and you'll never need to claim on it. That's what will likely happen. But if you don't have it and you do need to claim, you will be in a lot of pain, basically. That's the bottom line. Okay, number 11. So ensuring you are compliant. So what we have for you today is our free Rent to SA compliance checklist. Okay, now you can use this not just for rent to rent, you can use this for Airbnb purchases as well. But just to make sure that your business is fully compliant. Okay. The other thing that you need to ensure that you're compliant with is anti-money laundering. Now, this is if you are going down the deal sourcing route, you need to be covered. Okay, they are fining people at the moment, and the fines are not cheap. So please make sure. Now, the checklist, John, I believe, has dropped it into the chat there. There we go. There's 2 giveaways there. So the other one we've got is your business blueprint. So please go and check those 2 out and download those. What we'll do is if you miss them in the chat, then we will send an email out with the links in anyway. Bear in mind, though, as well, the other thing that when it comes to agreements and documents is contracts. So if you are doing rent to rent, company lets, these contracts need to be watertight, and you need to make sure that you're covered and that it is very, very clear exactly who covers what. So let's take it from a maintenance point of view. If your contract is very vague that you cover maintenance, the landlord doesn't, then you can't go back to them for anything, even if the roof gets blown off the property. You're responsible, right? So you need to stipulate exactly who is responsible for what. If you spend money renovating a property, put in there that if they, break the contract within the first year, they have to pay you a certain percentage of the renovation cost back. You can have all sorts of things into your contracts. So please make sure that you read the contracts and you are perfectly happy and understand every single element of it before you ever sign a contract. Cool. There we go. So we got through that relatively quick. That was a nice quick one for you guys. So the key takeaways are to build your solid foundation, ensure you are legally compliant across your entire business. Okay. First impressions, so professional email, branding, marketing strategies, they're all there to build your brand and to promote your business. So please make sure that you are on point with that. Spend a bit of time, get the branding right, get the color theme right, get the logo right, get the name right, get your email sorted. All of that needs to be done. Compliance, as it says there, is non-negotiable. So get it right from day one and you'll be absolutely fine. And then protect your business, so the insurances and documents to avoid costly repercussions. Trust me, it does happen all too often in this industry where people have got the wrong contracts and then they get stung. It's happened to me with one unit. It was a very, very early unit. I thought that we were covered, or that the landlord was responsible for white goods. And in 1 month, we had the fridge and the washing machine go bang. So it was down to us to replace them, rather than the landlord. So please make sure that you are aware of exactly what you are signing and that you have everything in place that you need to. Excuse me. So, as always, there is a free 20-minute session on offer. So for that, we will run through your entire plan to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Okay, there's no obligation. There's no massive sales pitch. It is purely a 20-minute session for you to pick our brains and for us to build you a personalized plan of how you need to tackle your business. So if you want that, John will drop it in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, then we will send an email out with the link, or feel free to reach out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and one of us will reply. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something from it. That, as I said, that was a slightly quicker session than normal, but I'll open the floor up for any questions. Please drop them in. It could be about business setup, or it can just be general question. No questions? No questions? Okay, doke. What I'll do is I will stop the recording now.